When did you realize you weren't valued by your workplace? I was about to be replaced by a former employee who was going to get paid $10,000 more annually and who was going to have fewer responsibilities. Needless to say, I could see I was not valued. At that time, I was working in a bakery that provided bread to about 150 local restaurants. We were a niche bakery that could provide these places with custom sizes of items or proprietary recipes. I held numerous positions over the 3 years I was there. I had managed day and night shifts, managed production, filled in as a delivery driver, and so on, working crazy hours for peanuts. The last position I was offered was a night manager position. The night shift was responsible for baking and packaging products and loading the trucks for their respective routes. I was tasked with cutting back the necessary hours to complete the shift because we were through the roof on labor costs, particularly on that shift. The problem with the night shift is that no one could leave until everything was finished. That could be 10 p.m. or 3:30 a.m. We simply could not predict what the day would hold, but I saw a number of glaring inefficiencies, so I figured I could make it happen. He offered me a salary to incentivize me to use fewer hours, and I did. One of the biggest inefficiencies was that the previous manager pulled himself off the production floor to create invoices. As orders were being filled, this process would take hours as they would kind of trickle in. He was also keeping himself out of filling orders or any other work. When I started, I stayed on the floor until everything was done, helped load trucks and got everyone out before I started invoices. It would take me about an additional hour, but I was saving a lot of labor hours just by getting the other 6 people off the clock earlier. And we were finishing earlier because there were my additional hands. What was once routinely finishing at 1 a.m. became everyone leaving at 10 every night, even on days with heavy orders. Effectively, I was cutting out 18 labor hours a day. Do the math. Even with crap pay, that saves a huge amount of money. However, now my boss determined I wasn't working enough hours, so he kept trying to get me in earlier and earlier without changing my pay. I reminded him of what he tasked me with. He couldn't seem to see the problem. We went back and forth on this for a couple of months. Then one night, I was doing invoices. Right beside the keyboard was a typed up job offer for our former day shift manager. He had left after 16 years because he wanted a change of pace. The offer was giving him my job, but a more stripped down version. You see, when I got this position, I still kept all of my old responsibilities. I simply inherited another position at the same time. He was being offered $10,000 more. What? A fewer hours and less responsibility. This showed me that my hard work meant nothing. I was going to get pushed to the side over favoritism. I woke up the next morning and flung resumes and applications everywhere. I didn't care what I did. I'd drive a garbage truck if I needed to. I was not worried about dignity. Hell, I would have taken less money if it meant that I would be valued for what I did. I finally landed a new job with an amazing local business. This experience would make for another post and gave my boss a 2-week notice. When he asked why I was suddenly leaving, I told him the truth. I told him I could see that I was not valued for my work and that I was not going to be pushed aside so unfairly. I had to look out for myself and my family. You could see the "oh no" look on his face. He finally acknowledged that he understood. I left and began working for my current company, which I still love to this day. About a month later, I got a call from my old boss. Apparently, the former employee declined his offer. He wanted me to come back. Things were in shambles again. I politely declined and told him I was much happier where I am now. Sometimes, sticking to your guns is hard. It can be scary throwing yourself into the unknown. Ultimately, I think I value my job today much more because of the stark contrast against where I had been. Even as hard and stressful as it was, I'm glad I experienced it.